Hi, my name is Helen Adler and I'm the owner of the Pet Maven. This morning we are going to be demonstrating a full cat groom. I'm here with Benji. Benji is a 4-year-old fawn and white Persian. He's a very, very good boy. He's a cat that I've groomed many times before. I've been grooming him since he's been a kitten, so I'm very well aware of his temperament. He's what we would call compliant. He actually enjoys many parts of the grooming process. And there are essentially 3 temperaments of cats. There are shy cats, those cats that need reassurance. They're not aggressive, but they're extremely shy and they really do need reassurance and to feel secure in the grooming process. The second broad temperament area is what we call compliant. Those are cats that are what we would call into the whole grooming process. They generally enjoy all aspects of the grooming. They're quite easy to groom, they're non-aggressive, and Benji, as I mentioned before, is in the compliant. He's certainly compliant. And the last temperament, and there are certainly gradations in that, are what we call aggressive. And some of those cats can be groomable, some of those cats cannot be groomed at home. Some of those cats can be incredibly dangerous to groom, but and in some instances aggressive cats will need to be sedated. They can get a light tranquilizer from a vet, and the owner will administer it. In other instances, they need to be groomed. If they lean more towards being feral, they'll need to be actually groomed at a vet's office. Benji today is, he normally gets a lion cut, which is basically all the hair on the body comes off, and you leave his hair on his face and his tail, and give him boots. But today he's getting a comb cut. We're going to probably keep him about a ½ inch to an inch all the way around. So he'll look like a big teddy bear when he's done. So the first thing I do before I do anything is I trim the nails, and we're going to do that because those are what cat groomers call the true weapons of mass destruction. So we're going to trim Benji's nails, and then we're going to clean his ears, and then we're going to do some preliminary haircut here. We're going to give him a belly shave, and then we're going to do his sanitary a little bit, and then we're going to give him a really good bath. I'm actually going to first comb Benji out. I want to just see if he has any really significant matting. The cat's skin is extremely delicate, and it can tear extremely easily, and it's pretty thin. And as a cat gets older, I mean, Benji's a young boy, young male cat, but as a cat gets older, and sometimes they are thin and lose muscle mass, their skin is particularly thin. And at various times of the year, the undercoat is more robust than other times. It really depends on whether they have their winter coat or fall or summer coat. And they do get at least 2 coats a year, and the texture is different. The feet have a ton of hair on them on a Persian. They're almost like mutlocks, you know. They're boots, and they sometimes get extremely matted. Persians, because they're flat-faced and they don't have a wide opening to their noses, often get a lot of secretions in their nose, and they sometimes have trouble breathing. You can clean out some of that stuff with some warm water, or you can use saline. Okay. Sometimes if he's got a lot of eye staining, what we'll do is, and I do this on a lot of dogs that are white or cream colored, is we'll use a child's toothbrush, which is really soft, and then we'll get in there and just kind of clean through this. But this is not too bad staining. So we're going to use one of these cosmetic discs, and use a little bit of warm water. And we're just going to get in there very gently. His eyes are closed, and you've got to be careful when you're around it. And most of that staining is all gone. Basically, for a bath for a cat, it's a 2-part process. The first part is to degrease the cat. This is a really nice organic degreaser. which essentially gets a lot of the oils and the grittiness out of the cat. That's kind of the first step, and then the next step is to shampoo it with this kind of clear, odorless, hypoallergenic, very gentle shampoo, so that by the time we're done with the bath, doing a degreaser and degreasing and a shampooing, he's going to be in perfect condition for a really, really nice haircut. We know Benji is fine for bath, but if it's a cat that I haven't groomed before and I don't know how it's going to react to water, I always start with the back, and I typically what I'll do is I'll put the tail and I'll get that wet and gauge the reaction, and then we'll put a little bit more in. Most cats, contrary to popular opinion, are completely fine for a bath. Everybody thinks that cats don't like water, and I would say probably 99% of the cats we groom are perfectly fine for a bath. They actually kind of enjoy it. I mean, there's some cats that we have to actually do the degreasing and the shampooing at the same time because they're a little less tolerant and they're larger. But for, I would say, the overriding majority of cats are really okay for the bath. Cats take a very long time to get wet. Some of it has to do with the oils. You know, sometimes you actually see the water beating off. And they just, he's got a really thick coat. And Persians, you know, he just happens to have a really, really thick coat. There's some Persians that are silkier, but he's on the woollier side. He requires very, very little restraint. In fact, most cats don't like a lot of restraint, but he will actually, you know, sit for the bath. Most cats, some cats do this, but a lot of cats we just have to scrub, which is how the mother holds the cat, which is the loose skin in the back. We don't really need to do that for Benji. Okay, so I'm going to degrease him. He's pretty wet. Yeah, so he really enjoys this. And Persians do need to be bathed pretty frequently. Everybody says, aren't cats clean? Don't they take care of themselves? Well, for the most part they do. But a lot of the long-haired exotic cats that are indoors, that have been, you know, really domesticated over the years, they require a bath. They get oily, they get loose hair, they get matted. So he's been degreased and rinsed out. And now we're going to, and he actually feels 1,000 times better already. You can feel how silky, smooth, he kind of feels a little bit like velvet. Okay, now we're going to shampoo him. You got to be really careful, you know, with any animal when you're bathing them is to, you can put cotton in their ears, or you close off their ears, you don't want water in their nose, you don't want water in their mouth or their eyes. And really critical to get all the soap off. So we will like over rinse him because you don't want to leave any soap residue on any animal because it can be an irritant to the skin. And we really do want, this is our palette, ultimately this will be our palette for a haircut. He is done with his bath and we're going to wring him out. Really critical to get as much water off of this cat as humanly possible. Out, and then we are going to towel dry him. And basically we wrap them, we almost swaddle them like babies. He's going to get swaddled. Okay, sweetie. Okay, so though he's pretty toweled off. And the next stage is for him to be blow dry. He's got to be, we really try to get them bone dry. Because once again, that's the palette that we're going to be giving him a haircut. He's pretty tolerant of the blow drying. In fact, if I think back, most cats, if there's going to be a deal breaker for the grooming, it's going to be the blow drying. A lot of cats are very sensitive to noise. So I always ask the owner, is the cat sensitive to noise? How do they react to when you're vacuuming? How do they react when you're blow drying your hair? Really to try to gauge. But also, for a cat that I haven't groomed before, when I get to blow drying, I start at the tail. Because if the cat's going to hit the ceiling, we want to be able to. And some cats absolutely will self-destruct during blow drying. We want to make this as pleasant a process as possible because most of these cats are going to need to be groomed again. So we don't want to traumatize them. I think you're dry. We're just going to go through you with a comb, make sure you're fully combed out. After we dry him, we've got to comb him right through everything because we want him to get a nice haircut. Okay, so I'm going to do his belly again, and you're going to see a big difference when you're taking hair off on a cat that's squeaky clean versus when they have, when they're a little bit gritty and oily and have a lot of dander on them. Another area that mats is sometimes the inside of the leg, so I'm going to skim down in that. Sometimes the hair on the belly just is matted here. It's extra hair. The cat don't need it. It's owner requested, whether it's done or not. He's getting a comb cut. We're just going to try to even him out. He was given a lion cut about 2 to 3 months ago. So a lot of that has grown back. He's not in full coat at this point, so we're going to make him look like a cute little teddy bear. So we'll probably be taking off about a ½ inch or so. And you can use scissors afterwards. Sometimes I trim up, particularly when I'm doing a lion cut, I trim up the boots. They look really cute. I may do some selective scissoring on him to kind of get rid of some of the loose hairs off his legs and stuff. But for the most part, most of the work is done with the comb guard. That's why it's called a comb cut. This is a very safe way to groom a cat, as opposed to taking scissors and doing a scissor cut on a cat. And this gives a nice smooth look. Kind of round a little bit on his face. Got to be very careful. Anytime you're working anywhere near a cat's face, you want to make certain the whiskers are not in the way. You should never, ever, ever cut a cat's whiskers. It's cruel. It's a way a cat keeps its balance, as well as it allows it to know where to enter an area that is maybe too narrow. It gives it a certain amount of depth and width perception. Now, a couple of scissoring things you can do on the face. What I do, is what I was taught to do, is kind of pluck the cheek area, and it makes them really smile, and it kind of opens up the face area. It does not hurt. I'm just pulling out. It's basically very fine, wispy, kind of cottony hair, and it rounds out the face. So now he's got a nice face, and the other thing that you can do is on the top part above the eyes, to kind of open up the eyes a little bit, is you just kind of scissor a little bit above the eyes. It's okay, sweetheart. Tippy, he's got a lot of tufts. We do not automatically cut tufts off the cat's feet or trim or something. That sometimes is requested by the owner, that we trim all the excess hair or the hair under the feet. But I think the only other thing that I sometimes do is smooth out and get any excess undercoat out, is I furminate. Not all cats tolerate it. It's basically a blade. You have to be very careful with it. You can't, it is a blade, so you can do damage with it. So I use a very firm and very gentle touch. And he really likes this. It takes out, he doesn't have that much excess stuff, but it just will smooth out his haircut a little bit.